Hello, everyone, and welcome to Why. We are so happy to finally be here with you tonight. You know, finding your why can really make a difference in increasing the trust and confidence in your brand. And that's why we felt that it was so important for us to share this three-part series with you. So I'm Susan Giddings, and I'm here with my business bestie, Jonathan Howard. And we are so excited to be able to be here finally with you tonight. So we have a great series planned for you, and I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan so that he can share with you what to expect tonight and what to expect over the next 2 weeks.
Thank you, Susan. I'm really excited about tonight. I think we have a great program for everybody, and we're going to show everybody today actually what our why is and what makes a big difference in our business when once we found our why, those changes that happen with our business. So we're going to show you guys that so you have a real foundation for understanding what the why can really do for your business. And then next week, Susan is going to really be talking about a roadmap for you guys so that you can find your why, and we can help you along that whole journey of finding your why. And then, of course, my favorite part is my part on the third week, which is talking about how we can use your story and your why in your marketing and social media. So really how we can use that to differentiate you from everybody else in your field so that you can stand out and get the clients and customers that you want. So I'm going to throw it back over to Susan.
Thanks, Jonathan. So, you know, you came here to find out our whys. So we're going to start off right now with letting you hear Jonathan's why. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jonathan.
Guys, how's everybody doing today? So today I wanted to talk about my why and how I actually came about my why and applied my why in a much different way than Susan did. I had already had a personal why that I didn't apply to my business until much later. I was already working with clients when I applied my personal why to my business and saw the magic happen. But my personal why came from the fact that I had been attacked in a hate crime and was fighting on the front lines for the passage of the hate crimes legislation in the US, as well as in Massachusetts, the passage of a smaller bill in Massachusetts. And after all of this happened, I didn't really know what to do. I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know what. So all I had was my words and my story. And I started to tell my story about how it would feel to be in my situation and what happens when, you know, these things happen to people, and talk to parents about, you know, how they would feel if it was their son or daughter. And I realized that even though all I had was my story, all I needed was my story, because my story connected with people. It connected with universal emotions that everybody could understand. My story was transformative for me and many other people because I was a different person. I saw the power of my story, and I understood that this could make a difference and that telling my story could change people's hearts and minds. And that's all we needed to do to win our fight. So I had this personal why. I wanted to tell people's stories. I wanted to tell the stories that mattered. I wanted to continue to tell everybody's story in everything that I was doing. So after we got the passage of the hate crime bill, and then we moved on to marriage equality in DC and nationally, as well as ending Don't Ask, Don't Tell, all these sort of things. And I was working with GLAAD at the time and telling people's stories. And it was phenomenal. It was amazing work because we got to tell real stories and they really connected with people. And while I'm doing this, I was working with GLAAD as volunteer. I had all of my personal why, and I knew that was all really going to be a part of me. And I was still business-wise working for Barnes & Noble College Bookstores, and I love my job. And I was doing this thing called social media because that's the only way I could connect with my students. That was the only way we could get students in the door. So I was doing social media and doing that, learning social media from the business standpoint. And I was enjoying that. And when the time came for me to leave Barnes & Noble College bookstores, I realized that I needed to have something to do. So I started my own social media, PR, publicity, marketing sort of thing, which was called JRH Graphics. And when I started JRH Graphics, I picked up a couple clients really quickly, but I became overwhelmed. There was a lot of stuff happening. And I hadn't run my own business before. So I started to build some tools. I started to do some of that, but I could not get people to connect with one of my clients. And it was funny because people would walk into the store and start talking plants with him and they'd connect. But I couldn't translate that to his marketing. I couldn't figure out a way to translate that to his marketing. So his marketing and his PR and all of his posts were falling a little bit flat at first. So in watching him engage with customers and seeing how he had such a magnetic personality and how people would immediately connect, and people saw in him that he truly had a love for these plants that he was selling in his garden center, I realized one very simple thing. All he was doing in the store that we weren't doing on social media was telling his story. We weren't telling his story on social media. We weren't showing people who he was on social media. And it clicked. And I was like, oh my God, aha, here it is. Here's why I can make a difference on social media. Here's what I can do differently. I can work with people to tell their story on social media so that they understand that their story has power and that their story about their business will connect with people and people will see them in a different light. And I got all excited about this and I started to tell Cody, I'm like, we're going to tell your story. We're going to tell your story. We're just going to tell your story. We're going to tell your story like you tell your story here in the store. And we started to tell his story and we started to show, we made this pivot and he was the center of the business. He was the main differentiator. And in what felt like weeks, he went from struggling to really becoming one of the lead garden centers in the area and a local celebrity. Everybody wanted Cody to be selling plants in their store. Everybody wanted him at their events. And it was incredible because all we had to do was a simple pivot and tell his story. And that's when I realized that my why that I had personally could be my why for my business. I'm the same person personally and in my business. Why should not my why be different? And I connect with my why. I get so excited telling people stories and helping people tell their winning story. Social media will change. Social media may go away, but I will always have my why, which is telling stories, because stories will always find a way to connect. And it makes a huge difference in the businesses that I work with. It makes a huge difference in everybody's business because your story matters. Your story engages with people, and it is my why. I love to help small businesses tell their story because their story is real, it's authentic, it connects with people, and it makes a difference in the world. Everybody has a great story. Everybody has a powerful story, and I truly believe that. And when you can really tell it and make it part of your business, that's when the switch happens, just like it did with Cody and just like it did with me. Because for me, now my why is the stories. It's not what, which was social media. It's not how I do social media. What matters in my business is my why. So that is how I came across my why. That's how I came about learning my why and applying it to my business. And yes, it took a little bit of a different path than Susan, but it was still an amazing path and an amazing journey. And it gets me excited. I get so excited talking about people's stories and giving them ideas on how they can create content that really tells their story. I like jump out of my seat. So I get to live my passion all the time because I get to do what I love. And that was transformative in my business. I could get all sorts of random, social media jobs doing this, that, and the other thing, but I wouldn't get to tell the story. And that's why I love what I do right now. All right. Well, I hope that gives you some insight into who I am, and kind of shows off how I'm a little bit different than Susan, but how the why is still so very important. All right. That's what I have for you guys. I will talk to you soon. Take care.
Wow, Jonathan, what an amazing story you had to tell. I'm sure everybody really got a lot out of that. And I can only imagine how you felt when this really happened for you in real time, when you were able to take your why, your personal why, and then turn around and have it make such a difference for someone a customer in your business.
Yeah, it was incredible. I have always loved to tell those stories, but being able to use it in my business in what I wanted to do, and see that it had the same power as stories do, in my social existence. It was unbelievable, and it was so great to see, and I've seen it happen time and time again since then. So it's just something I really love. So Susan, I think it's your turn now. I think we are going to go see your why.
Great. Let's do that.
And here's Susan's why.
Hey, everybody. I am so happy to be able to be here with you to share with you my why, how I found my why, and why it made such a difference for me. But before I start, I want to make one thing clear. You do not have to have your why as your business purpose to be successful. For over 20 years, I didn't have my why as my business purpose, and I was hugely successful. So I just want to make sure you understand that that is not the purpose of why we're doing this. The purpose of our doing this is because Jonathan and I were lucky enough to find our whys, apply them to our business, and we know firsthand what a difference that can make for you. And so we wanted to share that with you, because if you can find your why and make it the purpose of your business, it's going to change everything for you. So a little quick background. My education is in business administration and accounting. And I started off as a career person, as a controller for construction companies, because in South Florida, where I live, we have two main industries, and that's tourism and construction. And I fell into construction. And I did that for well over 10 years, and hated every minute of it, because as those of you who know me know, I'm a no BS person, and I don't like the business world, the ladder climbing, the backstabbing, the politicking, all those things. It's not me. It's not me. So I suffered through it, and in the meantime dabbled in some side businesses, but I really wasn't confident that I could go out there on my own. And please keep in mind, this was a very different time back then. We're talking way over 30 years ago. Things were hugely different. We didn't have the internet. Opportunities for women were not the same. And even entrepreneurship as itself was not the same back then. So it was a huge step for me to step out and try to do something on my own. But eventually I did. And of course, I stayed in the construction field because it's what I knew, right? That was my why. My why was I didn't like, what I was doing. I didn't like the BS I was going through. I felt like I could do better. I was independent. And naturally, I went into something that I was familiar with, because that's what we did back then. So, and it was good enough. I mean, I was extremely successful. I was fortunate enough. I live here in the equestrian capital of the world. We have the rich and famous come down every winter, for the horse shows and everything. And they became my clientele, and I was very comfortable. And because of that, I was able to put a lot of volunteer time into community service. I got very involved in community service, and I loved it. And being in the chamber, I became a community leader, and I became the chair of economic development for our regional chamber. I was in the Rotary Club. I did fundraising events. Very much community service became what came from here. I loved helping our community and our businesses grow and prosper. It's what lit me up. And I was doing it as a volunteer. And fortunately, my business provided me the outlet to be able to spend many, many hours volunteering that
I might not ordinarily have been able to do. And this was the base for the start of my why. So, moving fast forward to the crash of the housing market in the 2008 2009 time, I was tired of construction. I'd been in it all this time. I was still doing well. I was in renovations at that time, and it was perfect for what happened. It really didn't affect me, but I was done. I was tired of watching the economy go up and down. I wanted to do something different. I didn't know what it was. So I sold my business and I decided to look for something else to buy when a friend of mine approached me who I knew from my community service and asked me to run her business for her for a while because her son was very, very ill. And she had a publishing company. She did high end community lifestyle magazine. And I looked at her like she had three heads. And I said, why are you asking me this? You know what my background is. I know nothing. And she said, you know more than you think. She said, what do you love more than anything? She said, the same thing I do, and that's community service. And that is what this is all about. This is a tangible manifestation of what you love and what I love. She said, you know community service, you know businesses, you know business. She said, I have no doubt you can do this. You can learn the publishing part that you don't know. Your heart is into what this publication is all about. So she talked me into it. I went and did it. And in 3 months, I was just like unbelievably amazed at myself, at what I had been able to do, something so completely different, something I never would have even thought of in a million years. And I was smitten. I was just like over the moon with this. It was so exciting and fun. And I got to meet all these business people and tell their stories and tell stories about the community and do something so much for the greater good. And it was a beautiful publication and the manifestation of everything I had been doing in paper form. And I knew that this actually did good for the community and the businesses. And I was thrilled. And so 6 months in, she comes to me and she says, I got to sell the business. I can't come back. Will you buy it? Now, she knew this. She knew this was my why. She knew this was going to happen. She just had to get me in the door. And so, of course, I was hooked. I said yes. And life for me changed forever after because I had a purpose. I had a greater good with what I was doing. Yes, I was in it to make money, no doubt. I'm a business person. But to be able to make money doing what you love, knowing that you are affecting the greater good of something, in this case, the community and our businesses, well, that just made me unstoppable. Okay? I was unstoppable. And when people saw that everything I did came from my heart, that I wasn't just creating more things to ask them for money for just for my own benefit, they were all in with me. And my community supported me. They had such pride. And then I went to the chamber and created a chamber guide to help our businesses and on and on. And I started a marketing arm to help with marketing businesses. And everything I touched was just wonderful because I had such a support of those around me because they knew everything I did came from my heart. It was clear. Well, fast forward another 5, 6, 7 years. And I had built the company up so much that I had just started to go regional when I had a major heart attack and almost died. And I had to make this difficult decision to sell my company. Well, I want to tell you, in all the years with all the businesses closing, opening, selling, whatever, never phased me. This broke my heart in two. I had lost my sense of purpose, my direction. What was I going to do now? I was completely lost, heartbroken, and I knew I couldn't go out and buy another business because my type A personality was just going to put me right back in the same place. I mean, if I was going to, buy another business like that, I might as well keep what I'm doing because I love it. I knew I had to find another way to find my why and do something that meant something, but I had to find a way to do it on the internet where I could control how much time I spent, how much overhead I had, how much pressure I put on myself so that I could still be useful, because I felt totally not useful. So I went on the internet and started researching things I could do, and imposter syndrome just came out of nowhere. I looked at all this stuff and I saw people going, "Oh, I can show you how to make, 7 figures in 7 days. I can show you how you can, make $100,000 overnight. Just do this one thing and it's going to change everything for you." And I sat back and I went, "Oh my God, I can't do that." Well, little did I know until I got further on that you can't do that. Okay. You can't do that. It's not real. And fortunately, as I did research, I found that, this was all a sham. It was people selling magic bullets, and pills that, were not real. So I calmed down and I realized that, okay, I can do this because this isn't reality. And then I started hearing the stories about all the people who had, fallen for this. And, with good reason, they didn't know any better, because me as a business person, I could see right through it right away. But somebody coming online, desperate to grow a business, wanting a better way, is easily taken in by this stuff. My purpose just came roaring to the surface. Okay. Because there's nothing I hate more than BS and people taking advantage of people. And I saw that I could come online and be different from everybody else. I could be the no BS person, the person who's going to show you the real way, the truth, that it isn't easy. It's hard work. But if you do it the right way and you apply the same principles as you do in the real world, you can be successful. And so my purpose came back in full flame. And then I realized too that I could still create economic development, because entrepreneurs, we drive the economy. Okay. And especially now, if you look at what's going on in the world now, if we pull back, the economy drops. Okay. And so now I could not only drive the economy in my little community, I could now drive the economy in my country and even the world. So my purpose is back. My happiness, my heart is back. I found the way to move my purpose and my passion into my new business, and here I am. So I am super happy to share this with you. I hope you can see what a difference it made for me when I moved from having a business and making money to having a business that had passion and a greater good to it and a real purpose, and how that permeated everything and made such a difference for me. And I hope that over the next 2 weeks coming up, we can move you towards finding that for yourself too. So thank you for letting me share with you my story.
So, Susan, it was an incredible transformation that you had after you found your why. What did that feel like for you?
It changed my entire life, not just my business, but my life. As I said in my story, I had been successful in business for over 20 years and everything was fine. And I didn't have a why, in that sense, other than it's just what I did and I made my living that way and everything. But once I found my passion and was able to turn that into my business and have it come from my heart all the way through, that the whole world changed for me. And then being able to bring that now into my online world here with my online business and continue to have that passion for what I'm doing is just, it's what lights me up. It's what makes me happy. And hopefully that comes through to those who meet me and know me and talk to me.
Absolutely. And it's amazing, just that alignment, how much it makes a difference in your business and your life.
Yes, that's very true. And speaking of that, we are next week going to be talking about how we can help you find your why. So I'm going to be leading a masterclass that's going to kind of give you a roadmap on just how to do that. And now, Jonathan, why don't you tell everybody where we're going next?
All right. Well, we are going to be heading into the Zoom room for questions and answers, because we want this to be really a powerful way for you guys to find your why. Not only are we going to build the roadmap next week, but we're going to take you into the Zoom room. And if you have any questions for us, how we discovered our why, things that we did, you are more than welcome to ask them. And the Zoom room is going to be opened right after this. So once we close down here, we'll be opening up that room. And the number is right there, as well as the password, which is the second number there. And we will be opening up that room, and there will be a comment. There will be a comment. There will be a note in comments that has the link as well, if you just want to click on that. So that's all we have for you guys tonight, except for the room. So we'll see you over there in a few seconds.